What happens when a brand strategist who teaches identity work has to look at her own identity first? If 10-year-old Beverly was sitting and watching you right now, what would she say to you?
She would be proud of me, there's no doubt.
Today on the Fairy BOSSmother Show,
when the life vest comes off, you do some badass things.
I met with Beverly Cornell, an author, podcaster, and veteran strategist.
This is my space to be all girly and do all the things and just kind of have fun with it.
Beverly lives in a house full of boys, so her world is deliberately filled with pink, glitter, and a celebration of femininity.
I want to create a new container for women to create more impact. And if that happens, the ripple effect of that is, I think, magical.
But when you're helping other women find their voice, there's also a deeper question underneath it all.
Change has been a thing that is always, it is a river that runs through it in my life.
Yeah.
And I moved over 20 times. We, as a military family, we've experienced a lot of change and deployments.
Can I help Beverly own the authority she already has while making sure that the identity she shows the world fully reflects who she is? They are brilliant. They are smart. They're doing so much. Can we turn the mirror back to you?
I'm brilliant, I'm smart, and I'm resilient.
Let's meet Beverly Cornell. Now, before we meet Beverly, I asked her a few basic questions to see how she talks about herself and her business. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Fairy BOSSmother Show because this is how other people get to find the work that I'm doing here. Let's take a closer look. When I asked Beverly, who are you and what do you do? Beverly said, we help female consultants, coaches, and creatives who are overwhelmed, overworked, and over their branding and marketing to find clarity, confidence, and momentum. Right. The first thing I have a problem with this is she says we. So who is she representing? I know she's talking about her business and it sounds like she may have a team of people that she works with. Having said that though, the way she talks about herself sounds quite generic. So I want to nail down exactly who she's serving and why she's serving and whether that mirror really does reflect her or someone else she knows. When I asked her, what are your main goals for your business right now? She simply said visibility and scaling. So it sounds like Beverly is on the hunt to get herself known more widely. So I'm curious to know how she started this business, how she actually does talk about herself when it comes to the visibility that she provides for her business. And when you're the face of that business, how much of that visibility is she shying away on herself and projects it back on her company? Those are some of the deeper questions I'm going to be asking Beverly in this episode. Then I asked Beverly, what's the biggest challenge you're currently facing in reaching those goals? And she says time and patience. Now that says a lot about Beverly's character. It sounds like she might be too rushed. She's doing a lot at the same time. Maybe she's unfocused with the strategy that she needs to take for herself, not her business, but for herself. What else is happening outside of Beverly's life that is making her think, I need patience? Patience for what? I love to be able to find out a little bit more about that. Last but not least, I asked Beverly, have you done any work on your personal brand? And Beverly says, yes, the last 2 years is all I focused on. I was the cooler kid with no shoes, helping everyone else brand and market, but doing nothing for my business. I thought the work would speak for itself. We would be the best case study. We would have the Louis Vuittons. But what we found is we needed our own iridescent, sparkly ballet flats instead. Wow, that answer revealed so much about Beverly. She was focused so much on building her business that it sounds like Beverly has left herself behind in the process. And as a result, 2 years is a really long time to put focus on your personal brand. How far has she got in that process? And is the glitter glam conversation a wall of defense or something a little wider? Those are the things that I'm going to be asking Beverly when talking to her. So without further ado, let's meet Beverly Cornell. Beverly, welcome to the Fairy BOSSmother Show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be here, Taylor. I cannot wait.
Oh my goodness, she's bringing on the fire. So Beverly, do you want boss mode, go really hard, deep and dirty on you, or do you want the kitty gloves on and I go slightly soft on you today?
Oh, I want the gloves off. I want you to give me all of it. I am ready. I do this with my clients all the time. You have to have somebody outside your business sometimes give you the best bits. So let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. Heat on, gloves off. Right. Oh, did you hear that click? It was great. Right, Beverly. Well, let's get you warmed up. tell the audience, who are you and what do you do?
So I am the founder, I'm a podcaster, and I'm an author of the business Wickedly Branded. We help mostly women, consultants, coaches, and creatives really find their voice, show up more visible with more confidence than they have in the past. We have found over 30 years, and I am helping, hundreds of people that women do business differently, and that branding is a lot of its identity work for women. And so we approach it differently. We're not like a tactics first kind of business. We dive deep in, kind of figure out the identity side of it, and then we'll bring some of that stuff to life. So a little bit different and really more focused on female founders, because I know if female founders are doing good things and making impact in the world, we'll live in a more soulful world. And I think that's good for everybody. So that's my focus. Yeah.
Okay. There's a few things that you said. You used the word soulful, which is quite unusual when it comes to branding. But the thorn for me, Beverly, was you kept saying we. So who's we?
We is, I have a team of about 10 people.
Okay.
I am a strategist. I've been doing this for a long time, so I have a lot of perspective that others do not have. My team, though, they help with some of the tacticals after we do some strategy. And then I have like web developers, graphic designers, and just marketing associates who help make sure that all the magic happens after the magic is awakened, essentially.
Yeah. All right. Beverly, who's the brains behind this entire empire that's been built?
Well, I feel like, a lot of it's me, because I have an awesome team. They've certainly had some input. And I do believe that when you are building something with people, they need to have buy-in, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like it's certainly me driving, but there are a lot of people on the bus that have a lot of contribution to it. Changing my name last year to Wickedly Branded from BC and Associates Marketing, it's a really big step. And I don't think I could have done it without my team. So they kind of gave me the courage, the love, the belief that this was all possible. And so I feel like it's something that's my baby, but it's certainly something that my whole team has been part of.
Oh, I mean, clearly this is someone, you're talking from a position of leadership. You're giving the wheels away, you're allowing your team to grow with you and not just alongside you. So it's definitely a sign of growth. So I'm curious to know, Beverly, what made you decide you're now ready to be on the Fairy BOSSmother Show?
Well, first of all, I love you, Taylor. So, and I just love your vibe. But like I said earlier, I really believe that no matter how good you are, no matter if you're a marketer or not, you are so in your business sometimes that you don't see the forest for the trees. Mm-hmm. So over the last year, we've done a lot of work, and really, I feel like we do a great job. I'm not like embarrassed of anything or whatever, but I always think that you can, there's things maybe you don't see because you're so close to it that other people see really clearly, or maybe that, I think that makes complete sense, but because I live in this space, maybe my client doesn't understand that. So just having an outside perspective can give clarity in places where maybe I'm clear, but I'm actually a little bit foggy. So I think your perspective is going to be super powerful for us, to give us some bits just to chew on for this next year of how we want to develop and grow.
All right, let's talk about the pink, because I'm seeing a lot of pink. Not only in your background, Beverly, it's the glasses, it's the lipstick, it's the clothes, it's everything. What is this? Oh my gosh. Look, even I don't have a wand as a Fairy BOSSmother. What is all this about? Tell me about your vibes.
When I developed the brand years and years ago, when I first started, I wanted colors that were fairly feminine, but I also wanted colors that psychologically meant things like creative and wisdom and loyalty and growth and expression. And so pink and purple and like a aqua blue kind of speak to that. They're also the colors of mermaids and unicorns and things that are magical and beautiful. And so for me, I wanted you to immediately think of that when you thought of me. A little bit of magic, a little bit of fun, a little bit of sass, but also a little bit of playfulness. I don't think marketing has to be boring. I think marketing can be really joyful and fun when it's done well. And I just feel like it's our job as the marketer to show what's possible with that. So I absolutely love this color, like fuchsia or whatever, like the pinky purple. It's my favorite. I love all things glitter. Like I don't know, I'll show you, like my pen holder is all glittery.
Oh
Like
my goodness, my
I
daughter would love that.
yes, I live in a house full of boys, so I have to like really claim my femininity
Yeah.
in my home. And so this is my space to be all girly and do all the things and just kind of have fun with it. The other thing is that when I changed the name to Wickedly Branded, I was in the process of writing a blog post about Alphaba from Wicked. And when I was writing the blog post, it was all about embracing your inner green, the thing that makes you unique, the things that you love, the things that this are inherently you in every way. And my last line of the blog post was dare to be wickedly branded. And that is where the name Wickedly Branded came from. So this is the wand of Glinda. So there's a lot of inspiration from the story of Wizard of Oz and what we do. One thing we talk about is the tornado of overwhelm and just different metaphors we've used to that. So Glinda's pink, right? And so I think all of it kind of fits together with really the things that make me the happiest and that I align with the most.
Okay, so you mentioned that you're in a house full of boys,
Yeah.
and you mentioned the words femininity a lot. Why is that so important to you?
We are in a time, Taylin, my mother only had the option to be a librarian, a nurse, or a teacher, or a stay-at-home mother. And this is the first generation of women that actually have the ability to create wealth and legacy in ways we've never been able to have that power before. And so I feel like all of the marketing and branding books out there are primarily written by men for men, the way men think. And so I want to create the branding, what it means to us, because we carry a more mental load, emotional load. We are nurturers. We think of others first as opposed to like who we are. And so I want to create a new container for women to create more impact. And if that happens, the ripple effect of that is, I think, magical. So I feel like we're at a time, we're at this inflection that women are trying to show up. They're showing up as men and not as women.
Right.
And it's a lot of conflict internally with them. So I am about, like, right now, this is my thing. I struggled 10 years. 10 years ago, I was a hot mess. Like, I was trying to build my business based on all these outside assumptions. And it wasn't until I took the time to kind of peel away some of those assumptions, I call it the should suitcase, the shoulds of the world, that I realized what I desired and what I wanted and what actually worked for my family and my life. And it's not like a 9 to 5. It's not what the world has kind of said since post-industrial era, men have a wife at home to take care of them. I've always joked I needed a wife because being a business owner, my husband's in the military, so he deploys often. I'm a single mom often. And so if I could have that support, boy, could I do some magical things, right? And so I decided that's not the construct I want to live in. I want to live in a construct that maybe hasn't even been talked about. So my book that's coming out in the spring is all about brand magic and really how women can show up with their voice in invisible ways that actually fit them and not the way men have suggested that we. Patriarchy, religion, society, like there's a lot of shoulds that kind of come into our lives.
So we're talking a lot about other people, Beverly, how you want your clients to show up, how men have done X, Y, and Z. And the last 10 years, you've been fitting yourself in a mold that really doesn't suit you because that messaging wasn't really written for you, Beverly. So let's find out a little bit more about you, because we're talking a lot about other people and how you help women and the magic and the mermaids and all of that stuff. So before you started Wickedly Branded, before it became Wickedly Branded, what were you doing then?
So I was an ad agency girl. I worked for Chrysler. I was an ad agency girl. I worked on catalogs and commercials. And at that time, even like the internet was kind of new. And I did a lot of event marketing for them. And then I actually, after 9/11, a bunch of my friends and I lost our jobs because nobody was buying cars. And so I went and got my master's degree in communications, intercultural communications, actually. And when I did that, I started working at a language school. I worked as an English as a second language instructor, and then I started doing their sales and marketing for them. And then I worked for a translation agency, and then I worked for a tech startup that is a language learning software that's comparable to like a Rosetta Stone. And I helped build that from $1 million to 10 million in the 3 years I was there. And then I married my military husband, and I had to take my show on the road. Yeah. And at that time, it was like 2011, Taylor, like remote jobs weren't really a thing.
Right.
And so I had to kind of create it. And I always say I was an accidental entrepreneur. I never had these grandiose dreams of owning my own business. In fact, working for a startup made me think, I don't know if I ever want to do that because it's a lot of freaking work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like kind of kicking and screaming into the entrepreneurship thing. I started like as a freelancer, just taking a couple jobs. And then, they referred me out. And all of a sudden now I had all this business and I had to hire somebody to help me with the business. And before I knew it, like my clients had created my business.
Right.
It really wasn't a business that I had intentionally created. And that's where a lot of stress and burnout and overwhelm and like almost over it came about. And that's where like I kind of felt like I was bumping up against a container that just wasn't of what success looked like. That wasn't really what success was for me.
Yeah.
So that was really an evolution of just working in the ad agency world to helping with sales and marketing of smaller type businesses, and then a tech startup, which is a whole unique experience in itself. And then starting my own business after that has been, I've been in business now, it'll be 15 years this year.
Yeah. So you mentioned about how, the time that you were working in these agencies just before 9/11, that's a lot of things externally that is happening around you.
Yes.
Internally, what was happening with you, Beverly, in terms of where you fit, your role in the world, the impact that you wanted to make? What was going through your mind during that time? Because that seems like change was happening outside, but change was also happening internally for you.
Change has been a thing that is always, it is a river that runs through it in my life. Yeah. And I've moved over 20 times. We've, as a military family, we've experienced a lot of change and deployments and trainings, and we've fostered 4 children. I have a stepchild. I became like an instant mom when I got married to my husband. I've gone through a lot of illness and injury. We went through infertility, like a lot of things that kind of change is my constant. So what I have learned along the way is that I think in the beginning, when you start to encounter change, it's hard because you just don't know that's what the world is about. But over time, it's like that's the expectation. And even this week, like my business changed a lot in the last week because of a situation. So in a dime, it can change. And what I've learned is that I am the master of my life, and either I can like go to school and become more educated, or I can do the thing that maybe was harder or whatever. My husband says this thing. He says, I think you live in a place where sometimes you have the life raft or the life vest on, right? When the life vest comes off, you do some badass things. And it's like that change requires me to become a different person and evolve and go outside my comfort zone in ways I never thought possible until the change kind of appears in front of me.
Right.
I've been able to really use that in positive ways, I feel like, to grow as a person, but also to grow as a business. So change is inevitable. That's all part of it. And while it was really scary during 9/11, and a lot of us were really scared about where we were going to work and what we're going to do, I was just like, well, this is an opportunity for me to go back to school. I wanted to get my master's degree anyway, and learn some different skills. I was a manager at a retail store. I did some substitute teaching. Like I got to kind of dabble in some things as well. And it just helped me, I think, become a more well-rounded person with more empathy and kindness and compassion of like, sometimes life is hard.
Right. So let's imagine one thing, right? I think right now there's a lot going on in terms of your evolution has been great. You've gone through a lot, you've done a lot. You have a really interesting background, Beverly, where you've done a lot of big work for some big brands.
Yes.
But you mentioned that you had to go to school, you had to re-find yourself all over again. Your identity was constantly changing with the experiences that you were putting yourself in front of, and that life vest had to come off constantly for you to evolve as an individual. So I'm curious to know, if 10-year-old Beverly was sitting and watching you right now, what would she say to you?
She would be proud of me. There's no doubt. She was very naive, my 10-year-old Beverly. She wanted to save the world, obviously. And what I've been able to do is do the things that I really, really love to do in unexpected ways, but still the same thing that I wanted to do, I'm still doing, making an impact in the world. I feel like when you help women, you help their families, you help their teams, you help their community.
There's a knock-on effect.
It really is a beautiful, beautiful echo that kind of happens when you help women. And so my entire team is actually international. Like I have people from Bangladesh, people from the Philippines, people from Central America. I was an exchange student when I was in high school and just before college. And I really wanted to be a diplomat. And I think you have some of that background, which is amazing. And I got sick my first year of college. Again, like things that kind of happen where you have to kind of reimagine your life. And I had to come home from away from college, come home. And the program that I had, the international relations program at my first school, wasn't available at my school near my home. And so they were like, go go to law school. And I was like, that's just not like, that's not to me. Like, thank you for the lawyers who are out there, but that wasn't magical to me. I never wanted to compromise my ethics or my values to like protect somebody who was guilty. Like that would be really hard for me. And so I ended up going to communications. But now my entire team is from all over the world, and I feel like I'm helping to support them and support their community and diplomacy in a way that is very unique to the marketing world.
Yeah.
One of the things that I require of my team is that they have to have a community project every quarter where they help a nonprofit or a business to with their social media or somehow their marketing to help elevate them, because the more their community grows, the better it is for everybody. So I really believe that this ripple effect has happened from the 10-year-old's dreams of like saving the world. Literally that little girl.
You said one thing that really stuck out to me, and you said, I wanted to save the world, obviously. You used the word obviously. Why? Why was this such an obvious thing for you?
My mom is a nurse. My dad was a teacher. And I feel like service and like caring for people is like in my DNA. Like I can't undo it. And even my husband, he's in the military. Like we live a life of service. I'm also, this is like a little side note, and you probably see a little bullet in my bio, but I'm also a Stevens minister. Like, and those ministers actually walk with people who are dying, who have illness, have loss. It's just something very much a part of me. I want to care for others. I want to help people. I'm an only child, and I think growing up, it was always like, you can't be selfish. Like it was almost more so because I was an only child. Like my mom was really careful about, you can't become the selfish brat as you get older because you're an only child. So I had like this extra layer of, how do we give back? My mom would take me she was a home healthcare nurse at one time. And at Christmas, we'd go to people's houses and we'd give them hams and like make sure they could eat and like presents for the children. And I have a very mouthy pet. I apologize. Come here. And I just believe I was given a very good example of how to exist in the world in a way that is of service.
Okay, so you mentioned you're giving a lot of you to other people into service. So if you were to describe yourself, Beverly, one quick sentence, I am boom, 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 just to summarize your character, how would you describe yourself?
Oh, that is a really hard question. Oh my gosh. One sentence. I am a deeply passionate, caring, compassionate human who wants to leave the world a better place.
Okay, this is not about other people. This is about you. Selfishly, 100% you. Forget about helping and impacting and giving yourself to others. Deeply, who are you?
Oh, it's so funny because I want to say I'm loyal, but that's like the thing of other people too. I am a sensitive person who feels the world deeply. And when I laugh, I cry. When I get sad, I cry. And I want to feel the world around me. And I am open to that for sure. And I'm deeply caring. But I love the world. I want to travel. Like I've traveled all over. Like I'm deeply invested in the world we live in. I want to see places. I'm curious. I love the earth. Like I garden and I like my hands in the soil. Like I just feel like there's so much of the world to exist in, and I want to be in all of that.
Right. And I can see that, when I look at you and I hear everything that you're sharing, Beverly, there's one really big word that sticks to my mind. And for me, it's attachment. You're someone who has there's a lot of strings with you, right? There's so much about you, Beverly, all the experiences that you had. And I love the fact that you wanted to be a diplomat, but your ethics stopped you, because that's very similar to my story. But your deep sense of caring, your sensitivity, the fact that you said, I feel deeply and I want to be felt deeply by the world, right? It's like your fingers are going out into the world and you're holding on to it like this. But as a result, you're getting pulled into the world and you're not pulling the world back into yourself. It's almost like if there's too much happening around the world, if there's too much happening with your clients, a lot of it gets internalized, but you're not able to reflect that back.
Interesting. So, I have a coach and I also have a therapist because I feel high performers should always have both. I have a lot of trauma in my background, and I call it my therapist calls it the Jenga tower of trauma. And I think when you have trauma, you exist differently. Right. And I think a lot of people have trauma. Like I'm not alone in that. Like everybody has some trauma in their life, but you exist differently differently. And there's things that you do to protect yourself. And there's things that you do because of the trauma. So because of some of the things I've experienced, I think I have much more empathy for others. So I take that on a little bit because I know how hard it is. Like I've been in their shoes. I can feel that for them. And so I think it's a superpower, but I also think it can be like there's a line, right? Like you have to also like protect yourself in that. And the therapy that I'm working through is creating more boundaries and really what is it that I want? What is it that I desire? Getting rid of some of the shoulds that you have to have, right? Some of that. So it has been a journey. Like that's not something that just happens overnight. That's not just something that I'll probably always be a little attached, you know, for my rest of my life. But it is trying to do it as healthy as possible.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel I hear you. I hear you because it's something that I definitely work on. Even as far as like a family, I feel like I take on as a woman, I take on far more. And I learned recently that I don't have to be. Like I can regulate my own emotions and give them space to regulate theirs, but I don't have to own everyone's emotions.
No, exactly. No.
This is all stuff that I have had to process and work through, but I'm certainly not 100% there yet. But I feel like if anybody is empathic, like, and I do feel like I take on, like, I can feel energy and I can feel people's emotions easily. I walked into church one time and I remember I could feel like, I felt like I was going to cry and I didn't know why. Like, why do I feel like so sad right now? There was a woman behind me who was crying. And after church, I went to her and said, hey, I just want you to know, like, it's going to be okay. Like, it might feel really hard right now, but God loves you. You're not alone. If you need something, I'm here. When you carry some of that, you have to learn to kind of like, you can care, but you can't let it like consume you.
Right.
And so I don't want to say like a bubble, but a little bit of a bubble needs to be around you. And I've worked my whole life to create a little bit of a bubble so that I don't get consumed by all those inputs that can happen when you're a more empathic and sensitive person.
You asked for hard mode, Beverly. With that. And we are halfway through the show right now. So do you want me to go slightly deeper or do you want me to stay steady? Because I'm about to hit you with something really strong right now.
Go ahead.
Right. So I noticed the trauma and I noticed that there's a lot of things that you're doing to bury yourself so that you are not internalizing other people's pains, other people's traumas, other people's experiences. And it got me curious about the pink because the pink at the beginning, you know, when people first see you, the pink is almost like a signal of, hey, I'm happy, I'm joyful, I'm approachable, I'm friendly. But it's almost like that is your defense. It's almost like, right, just look at me from the outside. I'm someone who is very creative, who is very empathetic. But it's almost like the pink is distracting from internally what could be happening inside of you. It's like your wall.
So I don't know, like I have a lot of trauma, but I don't sit and wallow in that. Like
I don't think you do. I think you're way past that. You are way past it. You're someone who has a very strong foundations of exactly who you are, what you built from all of your past. I'm just curious to know because you mentioned, you know, the first thing you said about yourself was magic and, you know, the wand came out and all of that sparkly stuff.
Yeah.
Sparkles are distractions. It's almost like don't look too closely at me with what I can truly offer to the world because Beverly, you're a deep person. And I'm curious to know the things that you are sharing with me on the Fairy BOSSmother Show, does that actually reflect in the work that you do, the way you show yourself off online and how you present yourself to the world? Do you feel like it does?
Yeah. So my podcast is Marketing Magic in the Messy Middle. And I talk a lot about the messy middle of life. Like there's a lot of things that have informed who I am and helped me show up differently because of the things that I've experienced. So I talk about infertility. I talk about foster care and adoption. I talk about how hard it can be as a deployed over deployments and stuff and how overwhelming it can be. Obviously, I don't say like every single like nook and cranny of my closets, right? But I do put out there quite a bit of who I am because I think the messy middle is actually where the magic is. That's where the humanness is. That's where your story exists, is in the experiences you've had, what you've overcome, what you're still overcoming, because that is who you are as a person. That's how you show up in the world, especially for women.
Yeah.
And that's actually going to be your superpower because all that stuff informs how you lead and how you work with clients, the impact that you can make, the empathy you can hear, the I've been in your shoes and this is what has helped me, connections. So I feel like the messy middle is actually where the magic resides. So, but that is something that's newer. I would say that's probably in the last couple of years that has been something that I'm a fairly private person. Which is interesting. And being visible has been really challenging for me. And this last year, like last year I showed up in ways I never showed up before. But like I was in musical theater, I was a dancer. Like I've always been kind of like a performer, right? But it still scared me to show up in this way because what if you're judged? What if all these things, right? But what I've learned is when I'm actually the most honest is when I connect the most with those that are feeling it, right? Like they're feeling the same things. They're feeling like it's hard sometimes, and changes can be hard, and like trauma can be hard. But all those things have made me really versatile and made me very empathetic and very sensitive. And I think very creative because I've had all these experiences to kind of pull from to help the creativity. And I believe, I don't know, Taylin, with you, but I believe creative people are actually probably the most sensitive people. Like you look at your comedians and you look at like they probably have a lot more trauma than most people. Wow. So you can channel that work in a way. And I do. Like one of my lines is like, you know, being burnt out is because I was there. And at my like the absolute end of my wick and my candle, like I can't add one more thing here. Like my body's failing me. My business is, driving me to the ground. I'm stressed out, all those things. So I talk about the messy middle quite a bit.
I feel like your messy middle is definitely a superpower for you, because this is something that a lot of men don't talk about. Because for men, it's the grit, the hustle, and then the polish. You don't see what happens between. You don't see the rough behind the scenes. But with women, there's a lot, because you talked about foster kids, you talked about being a military wife, you talked about leaving home, you talked about, going to different countries, you talked about 9/11. There's like so much depth behind who you are as a person, Beverly. So it's almost like the messy middle are the women that are your ideal clients. Because there's so much from you that people can draw from. You can attract the military wives who have businesses. You can attract the foster moms, you can attract even the fur baby moms, you can attract so many different types of women just because you've been in the shoe, you are in their shoe, and the identity is breeded through change and trauma. Absolutely. And that's where the evolution happens. And that's where branding has the most amount of magic. And this is how you get them from A to B. Because right now, they don't know who they are. They don't know what they want to do with their business. They know that the business is going through a lot of volatile change. Yes. And they just don't know how to get themselves out of that. And this is where you belong in their world.
Agreed. And I feel like that took me a long time to get to that place of like, that's one help. But I know, I hear it all the time with my girlfriends that we live in a time that's super hard. We're working women and we're also moms. We're working women and we're also wives. And we're constantly in this duality of how do we exist in the world. And I struggle with that. And I think maybe it's a little bit elevated because my husband's gone a lot and I have to like pick up where he cannot, for 9 months or whatever, maybe a little bit heightened. But I feel a very strong pull to talk about these things recently because that is the people I want to help. These are people who are brave and brilliant and smart, and they have an amazing business and they don't believe in themselves.
Okay. Before you say any more, Beverly, I want you to put your hand out, right? Because you're doing something very interesting. Again, you're talking about them. They are brilliant. They are smart. They're doing so much.
Yeah.
Can we turn the mirror back to you? Let's turn the mirror back to you, okay?
Brilliant, I'm smart, and I'm resilient. I feel all those things for sure. And that's why I see them because I was sitting there, I had a successful business by all societal measures, making money, referrals, all the things, doing the work, and I was miserable. And I was like, why am I miserable? And so looking at that, I was like, I know I'm smart. Like I have a master's degree. I've done a lot of different educational things. I've worked in all kinds of roles that have prepared me for this. Why am I struggling so much? And, motherhood's a whole nother level. Like if you like whatever, but entrepreneurship itself is like a massive graduate school of how you show up in the world. Right. And I think for women specifically, we are very relational human beings. We create businesses based on others. Like you've mentioned that a couple of times for myself. Like, we want to help heal people. We want people to be more confident. We want people to, like, there's all these businesses that are like coaching and consultants and creatives are all in that space. And that's why I chose them specifically, because that is the people that I can resonate with the most. I felt that, I felt that like the hustle culture is very loud. Instagram reality is very loud. This almost, well, I have several things that kind of create the tornado, right? Of where we get in and we can't step out and we're like, just try to do all the things. There's the should suitcase of society that tells us all the things and how we should show up.
Let's throw that suitcase out. Bye. Throw that suitcase out. From
the time I was like, you're 7, like the theories and everything say that we are given so many ways to show up in the world as women that it's really hard, for us to undo and unpack all of that. It's just so extensive. We have the legacy load of being the first generation of women to have businesses. There's things like the vanishing finish line. Like, we create goals and then we like move the goalposts on ourselves all the time. We're so high achieving. We feel like we have to do that on a regular basis. And so what I started doing was naming some of this. And that's where the book comes in, as I talk all about some of this. And I talk about my journey in it. Like, I remember being like 2:00 in the morning, Taylin, my husband's deployed. I'm working on some kind of brand proposal, I believe, at the time. My 2-year-old just finally fell asleep. Sleep was something that was very elusive to that child. It's still kind of that child. He's 10 years old. And I was like, is this what success looks like?
Right.
And it didn't feel right. It felt so heavy. It felt consuming. It felt, and I just decided around that time, no, this is not what it is. And I like set out to explore what it is.
Yeah.
And that's the book is about the journey of how I got here into this place. And like the rebrand in March was like the really big step of claiming my own magic in a way. And so, I just feel like we carry so much the messy middle. There's a lot of books and lots of people talk about how they got started and how they were successful, but there's not a lot of stuff about what it takes in the middle to kind of evolve and grow. And I'll tell you, I have the confluence of all these things, right? The being a foster mom and adopting. I'm adopted. My mom's adopted. There's a lot of like things in there. My husband being deployed. I had a very serious hip injury. All these things happening. Plus, perimenopause.
Yeah.
A little bit crazy.
Yeah.
You're all out of whack, and you lose some of your nurturing hormones, which makes you think more about who you are inside, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And I was diagnosed with ADHD,
right?
ADHD, actually, at the same time. My son was diagnosed, and then I was diagnosed. And so I was at this like inflection point of, who am I with all this new stuff, and how is it impacting me as a business person? Like, how do I show up because of all these things? And that's the messy middle is exactly that. It's become the thing that I want other women to realize, that they're not actually in it alone. This is super common. I want them to be able to name some of this, so it takes away some of the power. The side, like you said, you can throw away the suitcase. There's some things in the suitcase though that have served us very, very well our whole life.
But the suitcase is important, but it shouldn't be kind of like a log that you carry all day.
No, it shouldn't be the I call it the steamer trunk, like through the sand at the beach. I have like a fanny pack now. Like, it's
exactly. Better streamline that thing.
Right. Or a little backpack. But the thing is that there's going to be things you're always going to work through, and you have to care. You have to decide, and you get to decide to create the exact business that works for you. I actually have like a literal permission slip, Taylin, that I give my clients of like, here, I'm giving you the permission slip. Like right now you have permission to create the business that feels right for you. And that's where you said is identity work for women. We have this relational work that we do with other people. We are existing in all kinds of relationships and roles as women. And then we are in this space where we get to decide how to show up as a mom, how to show up as a wife, how to show up as a business person.
And this is the thing, right? Choice is something that we have 100% power over. You choose what you decide for yourself. You choose what part of you want to show off to the world. You choose what role you want to play, whether it's one role or multiple roles. And I think a lot of the things that you were mentioning, Beverly, was a lot of women or a lot of business owners, they know how to start. They don't know how to stay.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That staying power.
Over it. Yeah, I was almost over it. Like I was going to go back to corporate America when this happened.
That's the easy path, because that's what we get to see all the time.
Right?
We know that is also the crazy part because you're stuck in one lane and you don't have the freedom or the creativity or flexibility to exercise what your real superpower is. And this, without that, you wouldn't have gone through the identity changes that you've gone through.
Absolutely not. Like I said, entrepreneurship is like the ultimate, I think, graduate school of life because it challenges you in places you as a leader, as a human, as your heart, as all these things. It challenges you on a level that you just, motherhood, I think, challenges you in a way. And then I think entrepreneurship challenges you in a way. And whatever you have worked through will show up in these spaces, right? The mirror happens, right? In these spaces, these moments of like who you're made of and how you want to lead, how you want to mother, how you want to show up in the world, the legacy you want to have. And so I feel like the last 2 years, I have turned the mirror on myself. I have made it more about the journey, the inside, the messy, the fog, and what has helped me step away. And really a lot of it has been naming things. Like one thing I talk about is the flying monkeys, you know, in The Wizard of Oz. These are the things that come at you: perfectionism, imposter syndrome, fear, doubt. They come at you when you're about to level up, right? When you're doing the hard work and all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait, no, you don't want to, no. And it like makes you question, like, no, it's just too hard. Or
you know what? I feel like when you're in that position, you need to borrow my boxing gloves and just go, get away.
Yeah, I think they can be teachers though. I don't want you to totally go away. I think you can actually like welcome them. When I see imposter syndrome now, when I feel a little perfectionism, which I felt a little bit last night actually, Taylin, because I was like, she's gonna be looking at my website, she's looking at all these things. And I was like, oh, like if it's not perfect, like what's gonna happen? But when those come, there's some things that it teaches you. Like perfectionism teaches you is about like control. Like you want control of things. And so why do you want control? You know, imposter syndrome is when you think that you don't have the skill set. So like, do you have Pia teaches about this, the badassery jar. Like, do you have the jar of proof that you are a really good consultant, creative, or coach, or whatever? Do you have a testimonials? Like, you have to build systems and support to help you. So there are ways to teach you to have tools, to have those things like a little bit of a closet of magic spells to be able to get through some of that stuff, right? And it's gonna come at you. And sometimes you're better at boxing it away, and sometimes I'm better at welcoming it and saying, okay, what are you trying to teach me right now that I need to kind of address?
Well, boxing it away is you defending yourself, but you could get hit and then you can relearn as well.
Then you can kind of like, okay, so I actually I have a really good relationship with them now. There was a long time where I was, I think, boxing or even dismissing that wasn't a reality.
Right.
Because for a long time, I didn't want to show up in front of my business. For a long time, I just wanted the work to speak for itself. And as a marketer, that's kind of ironic, right? Because
you're hiding behind your business.
Yeah.
Well, saying that, Beverly, having said that, I've noticed that we've been doing a lot of talking about all the evolutions that you've done. I want to quickly have a look at your website actually and see, are you actually reflecting this wonderful woman who's sitting in front of me? Is she being reflected in her work, in the way you're presenting yourself, or are you hiding? So before I jump on, do you feel like it's a true reflection of your business? Because it sounds like you've done so much work on yourself and your rebrand.
It's getting there. It's getting there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that your brand is never, just like your identity is never done. It's an organic process. And as you become more comfortable with parts of yourself, that will be revealed, right? So I feel like it's the most like me that it's ever been.
All right, let's check it out then. Okay, so let's jump on your website. Right, so we are on wickedlybranded.com. Right, let's get rid of that pop. Oh, there's a little wand. Look at that. Can you see that little wand? Attention to detail. All right, let's use that wand and get rid of that. So first thing I see is a lot of pink and a lot of teals, and those are the two power colors that you mentioned earlier in our conversation. So first thing on the homepage, marketing wasn't built for the way women actually work. Right, you're smart, you care deeply about your work, and you're tired of branding marketing that asks you to push harder. Right, Beverly, why did you choose this image and not something else, like you with the wand and kind of like driving people's identities forward?
Yeah, so that's a really intentional choice. If you go down, I do have a picture of myself. The next picture is of me, but I have a team of people, and this isn't just about me. And so I feel like, and eventually I want to sell the business, that I am trying to like balance of it's my business, but also a business that has its own identity as well with this amazing team. I actually went from BC and Associates, which had my initials, to Wickedly Branded on purpose to take me a little bit more me out of it. And also, if you know Donald Miller, there's a philosophy of the hero and the guide. I wanted to make the site more about them and less about.
Okay, so here's a problem. It feels like, okay, so you're trying to give it an agency feel where it's not the Beverly Show. It's a team of people working on building your brand for your business. But you're not representing women right now. It's just very much, it's very much walls. You're hiding behind, not even a person, you're hiding behind emojis right now and this road, this path. So why not show off the women? Show off the women in the messy middle. It doesn't have to be you, Beverly. It could be a representation of your client who is that military wife, who's juggling all those kids, who runs a very successful business, who've just had some sort of like surgery or some health stuff. Like that's the woman that you want to help. That is your mirror. So you don't have to be the face of your brand, especially if you want to eventually sell, but being just visually representing, hey, if this is you, if you're a hot mess and your life is really, really messy and your business is phenomenal, but it's not reflecting in the best way for you, this is exactly what Wickedly Branded does, right?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so I think seeing that a little bit more and being a little bit more visual, because branding is a very visual thing. And at the moment, what I'm seeing is a lot of words. I have to like really stop, read, exactly what you're trying to say. And a lot of it is about you're great, you're wonderful, you're this, like very positive affirmation. But what I'm not understanding is, what is the problem that I, as your potential client, have? What solution do you bring? Like, what is your fix? And your fix is your evolution, your branding. You are your greatest project, and your business needs to reflect that.
So I feel like I do that on the about page. And if you go down below, I have a little
Get the about page. Girl, I want to see that right in the minute I click on your website. I just want to see it right away. Who do you serve? What problem do I have as your client? And what do you fix for me immediately?
So you don't see that the problem I fix?
I have to read quite a lot of text. It's not like boom, boom, boom. It's got to be like a quick glance. I don't want to spend 5 minutes on your website as a client. I want to be able to see, who am I going to work with? Why is this person absolute like genius at what they do? And this is why the mirror is important, because you've mentioned so many great things, Beverly, right? You reflect back to your clients a lot. You want to attract those types of people into your business.
So like in the section after the hero image, I feel like I talk about that. Oh, that's so dramatic. I feel like I talk about that, like how we give them perspective, but I don't know how. It's not a simple sentence. That's the problem. Right. What the messy middle is it's a lot of things that are at you at the same time. Like it is motherhood, it is the pressures, it is the hustle culture, it is all of these things that are happening, that it's not like a widget, like I have a pen who helps you write. It's not that simple. So how do you do it in a way that talks about what's happening right now? Like obviously, like the legacy, all that stuff is happening and feeding it. It's more than just a sentence. It's very complex.
It's very complex. Yes, it's a spider web of things. And the genius about the work that you do, Beverly, is you're able to put together, you're able to understand everything that's happening in this one person's life, right? A lot of personal stuff is happening. You're trying to run an empire. You pull it all together, and you don't forget the person who's built this business and is running it. So
I like the concept of spiderweb, like even from a visual, like I
visual
like
point of view. Like think about, I mean, you talk about, the Wizard of Oz, you talk about fairies, you talk about unicorns, you talk about all of these like things that we can immediately visualize. That needs to be reflected back on your website. And right now it's not, because I think right now you're thinking about, eventually I'm going to sell this baby. I want this to be acquired by someone. Let me be safe and make it look like an agency. And right now, I feel like your personality is missing at the moment. You have that little wand, but it's not clear to me who is behind that wand. If you're in the messy middle, we are the branding agency that will fix that will magically fix that for you, right? So it's the words that you use. The problem is you're a mess. You're a mess right now. Good, because that's what we fix. You want the mess. You want to attract that mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want people who are aware of the mess too. Like that's like the first step, right? You need to understand and name it so that you can work through it. Otherwise, there's no. But when you said spiderweb, that actually brought a visual to my mind that may be really powerful. So that's something that I think, like, what is actually happening. So we call it the tornado of overwhelm. And you see the tornado in one of the images, but maybe we need to do something with that. Like, that's the messy middle, and then around it.
Like right in your homepage, the homepage is the most important. I'm not going to spend time going into the about page and scrolling down and going, who's running this agency? I have no idea. Beverly, I want to see you. It doesn't matter whether you're in it right now or whether you're going to sell it. Beverly, I want to see you. I want to see the mother of this amazing agency. And of course, you have a team, and it's important to acknowledge your team, but I feel like you need to own it a little bit more, because you say we a lot, and we creates a lot of distance between you and your client. It's almost like, well, yes, my team does great work, but also if my team messes up, we still have we. You know, you have to own it. So I think rather than saying we all the time, it's like my team and I am the founder of this organization, and I have an amazing team of people who is going to make you even better. Right? You have to own this. This is your brand. You've got so much of yourself and the work that you've put in behind Wickedly Branding. Own it. Own it, Beverly.
Okay. I changed the name specifically because I wanted to be less the center of it.
That's fine.
Seeing associates, I was like the center, and I didn't like the way that felt. And levels, like I didn't like it. And when I started working with like the story brand model and some of those things, like they talk about less about you, and it's all about the client. And even the work we do with them is like that. Like the first step is a 90-minute session of just diving in, right? Kind of like this. So it's about them. It's about listening to them. It's about, it's not really from a minister standpoint, it's the same thing. Like, it's not about, I'm just here as a presence, so you're not alone. It's really what it comes down to.
Yes. But what you're doing is, just remember this. You have a mirror, right? We're not talking about you right now. You are reflecting yourself back to them now, so that they understand you are the best person for this job, right? They want to be able to see yourself in them. You're reflecting that back, because you, more than anyone, understand the hardship they're going through, understand the challenges that they're going through, understand all of the hot mess behind the scenes that they're going through. They can't ignore that. They still have to work on this stuff.
Right.
But you're integrating everything. You're understanding that despite the fact that life is really messy right now, you're in a really tough spot right now. Your health could be declining, or your house could be like this. Anything could be happening.
Right.
They need you, Beverly, because you know how to anchor yourself. You know how to ride the wave of change and identity. And you know how to pull them out of that hot mess into something that is steady for them and their business, so their business can continue to grow, scale, and be successful. And this is why they pick you out of all of the hundreds and thousands of marketing agencies that they could go to. Beverly, they need you. You are a critical part of this, because you are the one leading the ship, even though your team are the one doing the work.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no question. Like, I'm the one that created the processes. I'm the one that's training them. I'm the one that's, absolutely. There's no question in that. In my experience, like, 30 years of experience, you can't undo that, right? That's like the entire business. I would agree with that. I am just not a person who talks about herself that way.
Right. That's fine, because you're not talking about yourself right now. It's about them. But just remember, I'm the one holding this mirror. I'm the one leading and guiding this entire process. And I'm going to be the one to help you get away from the person you are right now to become the person you want to become.
The person you already are. It's just letting you see it for the first time.
Right. Because they could be seeing a different version of this, and they could be looking at things.
Yeah. I say all the time, it's already in you. It's like in The Wizard of Oz, when Dorothy has the shoes, she had the power all along to go home, right? You have the power all along to be that person. It's just sometimes you need permission, and you need to do some work to get to that, to get home, right? And so you want your brand to feel like home. It should be like you. You want your brand to feel like home, and it should feel like you. Remember that quote, because I think that's going to be a really critical part to the next stage of Wickedly Branded. That is the mirror that I want you to reflect. Because I feel like when you do that, you're showing, I'm empathetic, I'm sensitive to your needs, I know exactly what you're going through, and I know
I have the solution and the processes and a world-class team that can get you out of this. They can't do this without you, Beverly.
They can try.
They can try, and it's going to take them a long time,
Yes.
and it's going to get messier without you.
10 years, Taylor, and
Right.
instead it takes 2 months with me. So yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when I say that to you, when I reflect that back to you, how does that make you feel?
I'm hearing you. I have to process it a little bit. I think how it plays out in the messaging. But there's some things that you wrote down. I wrote down was the messy middle spider web, and then I like the phrase you said, ride the wave of change. So like there was a whole sentence that, like a couple sentences there that were really good. Those feel good to me. And the world-class team, I think, feels good to me when you talk about that. Like, I think that's a great phrase. But so the thing that I've always been taught with marketing is they have to see themselves first before so in the wording, like, this is who you are right now. This is how you are existing.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's important.
They continue, right? So the first 3 to 5 seconds on a website, you need to they need to know I'm in the right place because this is me. Yeah. So it's all about them. So I've put my stuff kind of down lower because I want them to see themselves first, not see me as the messy middle, right?
That is fine.
How do you kind of balance that?
That is fine, because what you want to show off is the hot mess. Yeah. Right? Of the owner, of the founder.
But do I say to them they're a hot mess? Like, do I say that?
No, right. you wanna kind of like gently interpret. Right. This is happening, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. Exactly. And you still, despite the fact that you're juggling all these plates, you're still a business owner who is evolving, your identity is changing, and you just don't know how to capture all of this in your business. Yeah. Right? That is the solution that you guys bring in.
Right. I mean, if you look at that first paragraph, exactly what I say, like how it all starts to add up, and then how we have helped hundreds of entrepreneurs do this thing. Like, we've helped them find this and find their voice and show up with visibility in ways they've never had before. Find the confidence to do that, because that's the thing I think so many women struggle with, is like the confidence. And maybe it's societal, Taylin. Like, we are taught not to step in front of our brands. Yeah. Men are taught to be like own everything.
They own everything. Yeah. But this is the thing. You're now breaking that status quo for yourself and for the generation of women that you're helping.
But you need to show that way, though. Like, I don't know if that's how we need to show up. So this is a new container, right? So, and I want to honor the people, like my team, everybody who's a client as well. Like, how comfortable are you doing these things, right? Like, and it's okay. Do it what's comfortable for you. I might push them to the next level, which is what you're doing today. Right. But the idea is that, like, if you've never been on a podcast, maybe go on a podcast. Right. Like, try these things, right? And what feels good, do more of that. So if you're not a writer, but you're a talker, go on podcasts. Use those podcasts as your blog posts. Like, I try to get them to, and then maybe make videos out of the blog post, because you are a writer and now you can like maybe do some video out of it.
Exactly. You're playing to their strengths.
Yeah. And I feel like
to get them to do something that is too uncomfortable. Yeah.
So for me to like really put myself out there like that is really uncomfortable, because I don't think it is about me.
No one's asking you to be the face of this business, because I don't think that's what your business is doing to serve right now. So we're not reflecting your face back to the world. We're reflecting your values, your identities, all the different parts of you who made you who you are right now. And the fact that because you've ridden through all of these different changes, you are in a prime position to be able to help that woman looking at your website and watching you speak and hearing you talk right now and going, oh my God, Beverly's my woman. I need her to help me sort this out. That's the reflection I'm talking about.
I hear you saying you went up higher, because if you go down, it is there. Like, I feel like it's the front page. It's just lower on the page.
Yeah, I'd say higher, because your clients, you want to be able to give them a sense of exactly what wickedly branded fixes. That's the essence that is missing right now, just by looking at a very small section of your website. Yeah. So Beverly, we are wrapping very, very quickly now to the end of this episode. I'm curious to know, what's the biggest realization you had today with the Fairy BOSSmother today?
Obviously, I needed to be a little bit louder about, or clearer about, like the messy middle and how we solve that problem, what it looks like, and also how we're different in that. And I need to lean more into my story, which I've been doing, but I need to do more of. So I think probably some of that is some comfortableness of like how much I share. I share a lot of it on my podcast, but not so much in the, which is interesting. So maybe a little bit more about that, and like pulling it up a little higher in that. I've been doing a lot of even thought leadership posts on LinkedIn about my life. So what I think has been an evolution this year in LinkedIn specifically is I see life through now this lens of the messy middle.
Yeah.
So I went to, for example, I went to Universal Studios with my son in last April, and he was 9 and he got a wand, which obviously I have like a thing for, right? So he got a wand and he was in like Diagon Alley and he like took the wand and he did this spell and there was all these people around. It's like it's spring break, so it's like one of the busiest times at Universal, and he had such confidence in the way he did that spell, and he could have cared less about what anybody thought about him. And the whole post was like, when do we lose a 9-year-old confidence? What happens to us to not want to do the spell in front of everyone with everything in your heart and being? Like he was like, come out of him, right? And I just looked at him and I was like, what a lesson for us, as people. And so I feel like all those moments now I see differently through this lens of the messy middle. And so bringing those out and talking about those subjects in relation to those things that are happening in my life really have become the golden thread through which everything I do is shared from. And so in my blog probably speaks to that more than the front page. So maybe I just need to insert some of that, the golden thread stuff on the front of the site as opposed to buried or in the podcast.
Yeah, because you're not shy about talking about your life experiences. This is your HQ right now and your home is empty.
Empty.
It's a little empty. It's a little empty. I'm not hearing and feeling Beverly or your presence at the moment. And I'm seeing all of that everywhere else though. Like the way you show up, the work that you've done. I highly applaud everything that you've done. So your website is a small blimp. And it doesn't minimize any of the work that you've done.
Yeah.
You're talking about visibility, right? You're talking
that's
about
the word for this year. Yeah. And that's why
exactly.
Perfect. Yeah. This is showing up in a way that's really true to me at myself though. That's the thing. I don't want to show up in a performative way, how everybody else shows up. I want it to genuinely be me every time you see me or hear me or read my work. It needs to be me. I think now more than ever with AI, humanness is going to be the differentiator.
Exactly.
So it needs to be genuinely and aligned with who I am. And that is something I think most business owners right now are kind of grappling with, is like, the word a couple of years ago was authenticity, which I think is way overused. And I think the word should be alignment. Fully aligned with who you are, how you show up in the work that you do.
Right.
And I hear you say there's maybe a little misalignment on my homepage. So that's what I hear. That was
You're
a very long answer to your question.
Right. You're someone, your client should see you and saying, wow, she knows what she's doing. She knows her shit. She knows how to, you know how to stay grounded, despite the fact that you've had all of these things. The fact that your husband leaves the country like 9 months out of a time, an average person won't know how that feels like. And you're having to like completely take over another completely different role temporarily. But the minute he comes back, it's like, right, now what's my role? Like, now what do I do? It's just
always evolving.
Change.
Always.
The always evolving is a good thing, but you need to know how to control that evolution in a way that is going to open up a better path for you. And I think that's what you do really best.
Yeah.
So we're going to lean into that. And that's the mirror playing right now. That's the mirror that you're shoving back to the rest of the world. And you are doing it in a way that is fun, empathetic, and sensitive, but you are controlling this entire process because Beverly, this is what you do. This is just what you do.
It's just who I am.
Right.
Yeah.
Beverly, it was awesome having you in the Fairy BOSSmother Show. Any last words for the Fairy BOSSmother before we wrap up?
Oh, I just think you need to keep doing what you're doing. And I think it's great that you help people do this extra work that we need to do. I appreciate your honesty and I appreciate the ideas. And I'm so grateful to have spent this time with you today.
Beverly, you're an amazing human being. And I can't wait to see how you evolve in the next few years with all of the amazing work that you're doing. Thank you so much for being on my show today. If you enjoyed this episode of the Fairy BOSSmother Show and feel ready to build your $1 million personal brand, download the Personal Brand Starter Kit for just $29 and learn the exact system I use to turn small business owners into $1 million personal brands. Go to brandlikeabosskit.com or snap the QR code on this video. See you soon.